Okay guys, what's going on? Hopefully you liked my last video. Today, what I want to talk about is the power of rituals. So, what do I mean by that? What do I mean by the power of rituals? Well, the funny thing is, whenever we get in a powered state, whenever we're happy or whenever we're sad, we'll do rituals. If I'm really sad, down and out, face goes down, eyes closed, looking at the ground, basically being emotionless, being just kind of like a limp noodle. If I'm happy, what do? Chin up, smiling ear to ear. Sorry, hiccup, just got done with dinner. Smiling ear to ear. Look at those pearly whites. That kind of mannerisms and that kind of body movement is what gets us kind of into what's called like a peak state. The funny thing is, we don't realize this, but a lot of times when we get into these funks and these emotions and everything else, it's usually a ritual. We have a ritual to get depressed. We have a ritual to get sad. We have a ritual to be happy and everything else. Now, why am I telling you this? This is because of this. We have a way to change it. We have a way to rewire it. We have a way to change state. Everything that we do in life is kind of based off state. We have a happy state, we've got a sad state, empowered state, depressed state. But if we realize what causes us to get in those states, we can always change it, and we can always tweak it, and we can go from a depressed state to a happy state, or vice versa. We can go from a happy state to a depressed state. But once we figure it out how to basically do the tricks, it's almost like these are for any of those 80s kids out there. If you guys remember Game Genie, where you put that on the Super Nintendo and you're able to beat all the levels, that's kind of what this will allow you to do. It'll allow you to basically go to whatever state that you want to do. Once we understand psychology, we understand how we operate and how we'll basically be able to, kind of change things per se. So, here's the thing to think about. Anytime that we're in a depressed state and our body's hunched over and our head's down and our face looks like it's going to melt away, like melting like a candle, all we have to realize is this: smile. Just smile from ear to ear. If you guys have ever wondered, when I was fighting, or if you ever hear me do the woo thing, the Ric Flair woo, what that is a trigger. That is what allows me to get into peak state. A lot of times when I do that woo thing, I'm having anxiety, I'm sad, I'm feeling pressure of some sort. Once I do that, that woo is what's called a trigger. Once that trigger hits the place of my subconscious, then all of a sudden I'm happy, I'm stoked, I'm impressed. So whatever I'm faced with, if I'm faced with anxiety, if I'm faced with fear, if I'm faced with depression, I bust out a woo! That was a little hoarse, sorry. Woo! That's better. I bust that out, and then all of a sudden, I feel a lot better on what I'm about to do, and I get into what is called peak state. The other thing that we suffer from is procrastination. So think about all the things in life that we have done, that we have pushed off, and ask ourselves this one question: where would we be in life if we never procrastinated? Where would we be if we took immediate action on everything that we did? And what I can tell you is this: if we took immediate action on any goal that we had, we'd be a lot closer to our goal. If we took immediate action on facing our fears, we'd be a lot closer to conquering our fears. It all comes down to action. But procrastination is that Achilles heel that is just basically depowers so many of us from having the life and having the future and everything else that we want. So one way to beat procrastination is this: attach so much pain to not doing something than attaching pleasure. Basically meaning, if you're struggling and you have to actually get to the gym and you don't want to go because you think to yourself it's going to sit on a couch, it's going to be the most awesome thing ever watching soap operas, think to yourself, 20 years from now, if you were to sit on that couch and that you were to basically get, you know, inundated with more and more Baby Ruth candy bars, and you're just fat, disgusting Job of the Hut blob, picture that. And what you're going to do when you picture that is you're going to attach so much pain to be on that couch that you're immediately going to get off. It's going to be like sitting on hot coals and be like, whoa, gotta get to the gym. We don't act on things, we don't move on things, and we procrastinate on things because we attach so much pleasure to not doing something. And the other thing that we should do is this, is that don't go through life going, you know, all of a sudden when it comes time that you have to do something, don't say, I have to do this, I have to do this. Say something like, I want to do this, or I choose to do this. Because when you give yourself a choice, and that you chose to do that, or that you want to do this, then all of a sudden, what that's going to do is that's going to actually give you power. That's going to allow you to actually move towards taking action and, you know, not procrastinating. Like I said, we procrastinate because we attach more pleasure to not doing something than to attaching pain to not doing it. So if we attach pleasure to doing something and pain to not doing it, that's where we allow ourselves to take action and move towards exactly what we want to do in basically moving to beat that procrastination. So once again, guys, what we kind of went over today was state management. How if we're depressed, we can always change our state to be happy, and vice versa. If we're happy, we can always change our state to be depressed. So realize this: if you're down, your head's glooming, you're kicking your feet, life sucks, try changing your state. Lift up your chin, smile, ear to ear, stick out your chest, and walk with confidence and walk with a little pep to your step. You can definitely turn your day around. Also, with fighting procrastination, attach more pain to not doing something and pleasure to doing it. So, attach a whole lot of pain, aka we did the Job of the Hut analogy on the couch, to not doing something, and to pleasure to doing it. So, always think about the actual outcome. Say, hey, if I just took action on this, what could be the outcome? And think of a very positive outcome and goal and move towards that. On top of that, last but not least, say to yourself, I choose to do this, or I want to do it. Don't say that you have to do this and this is the only way it is. Because if you do that and you feel like you're forcing yourself to do something, you're not going to want to do it. When you realize you have a choice to do something, then that's when you want to do it. Alright guys, till next time, thanks for sitting down and thanks for listening. Woo!